Hi guys, welcome to Plugged In with Spike Leo. Today we're going to do a short episode. There's a couple of topics that I wanted to talk about and a few questions that I had that I thought would be really relevant. So today I wanted to speak about music, love, and pain. The love of music, as some of you will know, is quite painful, and it's a difficult journey. But I feel like there's a lot of people going through it, and if we could all just kind of connect together, which is essentially what I'm trying to do with these Squad Sunday session once a month. We have artists and music producers come by. The last one we had was amazing. Make sure you check it out. And everyone basically shares their stories. And I feel like, love and pain is a huge theme of our lives. And especially if you're involved in music or any type of creative platform, it's something that really can either drive us or it's something that can really kind of stop us in our tracks. So I wanted to talk a little bit about that. For me, music is really a refuge for when I'm not feeling great. It allows me to express myself. I create music. There's no expectation when I'm just sitting in a room with this equipment, and I can just create freely and see what comes out. And sometimes when I'm doing that, I create a hot mess and it sounds absolute shit. But most of the time, if I'm just really connected with what I'm doing, you get a really nice result. And I think just being able to create your art, whatever it is, whether it's music or dance or whatever platform you use as a creative tool, just being able to express yourself freely, freestyling as a dancer, photographer, musician, is really freeing. And if you really connect with yourself, you can really kind of put your emotion into what you're doing. I think that, when you're in love or you're feeling love, it's very easy to be able to create. But what a lot of people struggle with is when you're not feeling that love, when you're going through difficult times. And I think it's really important. We talk about mental health and isolation and all these things as creatives, but it's really important to know when to take the time to yourself and sometimes time away from your creative art. We don't want it to get to the point, obviously, where we're not able to create, we're not able to do the things we love. We don't want it to stop us in our tracks, but you also need to know at what point do you just take a break? Do you take a rest to focus on yourself? So some of the things that I like to do when I'm struggling is I'll definitely do meditation, and my missus always tells me to practice meditation. I wish I was more disciplined. I wish I did it every day because I really feel the effects. I really feel centered and connected and much more peaceful. I'm able to process things that are happening in my life much easier when I do things like meditation. But also going to the gym for me, I wish I could go to the gym 5-6 days a week. Realistically, I probably get to the gym 3-4 times a week. And the gym's another thing altogether. You need to be eating properly, sleeping properly. Not all those things come to fruition all the time, but doing those things actually allow me to be a better producer, to be a better friend, to be a better husband, father, whatever it is, whatever roles that you have in your life. I feel that all these are affected more positively when you're kind of practicing these types of things. And when I really suffer is when I stop going to the gym, or when I am not doing these routines or rituals or practices that really really affect me emotionally. Now, I'm a sensitive, emotional type of guy, so it's really important for me to keep everything in check to be able to get the creative flow happening. So try and figure out what that is for you, whether that it might not be meditation, might not be the gym, you might not like that stuff. I don't recommend drugs or drinking as a refuge for whatever you're going through. I feel like that's kind of suppression, suppressing whatever it is you're dealing with. So try and find the best way to deal with it, whether it's talking to someone or using some of these effective methods. So when you do get to whatever your creative flow is, that you're the best you. I think also being in the studio, this is a people business. We're always surrounded by people, and whatever art form you're in, you are going to be associating with a number of people, and their energies can really affect what you do. So I think there's also a point when you need to know if something is not a good thing and just let it go. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think if it's affecting the way that you create, the way that you feel, it's okay to let go of those things. So make sure that whatever you're doing, you feel it's positive, especially if you're in your creative space. Make sure that there's always positive energy flowing out of that space. And in turn, it's really going to affect the people you're working with, because, you know, if I'm feeling great and it's coming out of me into the music, it's going to affect the music, it's going to affect the clients or people that you're collaborating with. I always talk about how important collaboration is, but the collaboration needs to be connected from both sides. The energy is very important. Another question I had is like going full time. So this is a topic I could talk about for ages, which I won't. But I guess going full time in whatever your art form is, it's a challenge for everyone. We see all these people who are incredibly successful, but we don't hear a lot of the stories that they go through before. Now, I'm not at the point I want to be in terms of success, whatever we think that is. But, you know, I'm ambitious. I have places I want to get to, but you want to make sure that that the money is not getting in the way of that vision. You want to enjoy the journey. You want to enjoy the struggles. They all go hand in hand. That relationship between love and pain. When you're feeling great, everything flows. When you're not feeling great, it's a bit more of a struggle. But that's really what defines you as an artist. When things turn to shit, what are the practices you put in place to get there? And a thing that can really play on our minds as artists, all of us, is money. Because the fact of the matter is, in this society, we have to have money. We need to pay rent. We need to pay bills. And sometimes you just got to take the risk. Now, I'm not saying take the risk and quit everything you're doing. I don't do that either. I work Monday to Thursday in the studio. Friday, Saturday, I work at a juvie prison helping kids with music. And Sunday, I take one day off. I used to work 7 days a week, but I highly recommend that you don't do that, because, again, like I was saying at the beginning, you're not going to be a better you if you're working 7 days a week. You're just going to be exhausted. And I found that I actually became less productive with the weeks that went on. So try and find the balance. Obviously, you know, I want to get to a point where I feel I have the security where I can just do music Monday to Friday, have Saturday as an option to do music, but also have it as an option like I'm going to spend a bit more time with my family this weekend. And that's a point I'm not at yet, but it's something that I'm working towards. So I do highly recommend finding a balance. Sometimes a balance is going to be more work and less creativity, more creativity and less work, which is ideal. But I think you just need to be at peace with the fact that you might have to do a whole bunch of shit you don't want to do. And through all the years that I've performed and blah, 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 and then went into music production, there's been a lot of shit that I didn't want to do. I've vacuumed floors at 6:37 in the morning for retail jobs. I've worked at restaurants. I've done so many shitty jobs, but it really makes me appreciate that the worst day I have in the studio is still better than the best day I would have in a restaurant or a retail job. So you got to put things into perspective and just keep working towards it. It does take time. It might take years. It might take 6 months. It might take 5, 6 years. But if you really want to do it, for me, it's just black or white. I don't see any other way. I got tunnel vision. This is what I'm going to do. This is what I want to do. So I encourage you to really fight for what you believe in. You know in your heart what the truth is. It's sometimes hard to admit it, but you're like, shit, I want to do photography for the rest of my life. I want to be a music producer. I want to be an artist. No matter what you do, there has to be more than just the idea of fame and money, which I was talking briefly to Tomas, the cameraman, about before. You can't just be chasing for fame. It's the wrong intention. You can't just be chasing for money. You need to be true to the art. And if you're true to the art and you connect with the art, it's going to resonate with more people. It's going to be more powerful. We all connect to things that are emotive. So it needs to go through your music. Again, going back to love and pain, you need to try and put this into your art form, whatever it is. Just checking my notes. I guess in terms of failure, like my beliefs on failure is that you don't really fail. You can't fail. The only way that anyone is going to fail creatively is quit. For me, if I sold the studio and I said I'm done, that for me, maybe it would be failure. If I quit for the sole purpose that it's too hard. You know, if I got to the point where I'm like, I don't really enjoy music anymore, which I can't imagine, and I quit, I mean, that's a different thing. I'm saying, you know what, I'm going to move on to other ventures. So don't be scared of this idea of failure. There's many things within my studio life that work and don't work. I don't see them as failures. It is cliche. They are lessons on your journey, but it really, every time something not so great happens, it pulls me closer towards what I do want, what I want to happen. It makes me more sure of how to get there. You know, when I first started, I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know what any of these buttons are or do. I just made shit music for a long time, and I was okay with that. I was a bit naive. I thought the stuff I was making was good. It wasn't. I still haven't worked up the courage to share it with everyone yet. Maybe the next Squad Sundays, I'll share some of my first songs. You know, I will try. If anyone's watching this, guys, from Squad Sundays, I will endeavor to show maybe one or two of my first songs to the squad. And, you know, I think it's cool to see where everyone starts. It takes a long time, but it also feels like it's gone really fast because I love it, man. I love it. I can't think of anything else. And the other thing that's great about having another job on the side is that it makes me really want to come back to the studio on Monday. Monday is my most exciting day. You know, I get to Friday, Saturday. It's nice to have a break, but I come back in the studio with fire, and it keeps me really motivated. So enjoy the balance, enjoy the journey. Finding ways to stay motivated so music keeps flowing. You know, for me, there's lots of ways to keep motivated. I got to a point where sound really inspires me. So sometimes I'm not recommending buying a new piece of equipment. I was really lucky, by the way. I'll put it on camera. I won a Korg Prologue from Korg Australia. So a big shout out to them. The Prologue 16, it's a beautiful synth and it sounds incredible. I wouldn't recommend going out and buying really expensive equipment unless you have been saving for it and can afford it. But, you know, you can buy little bits and pieces. This synth over here, I don't know if you can see, this is like a Korg R3. It was my first synth. It cost me, I think, $280, $300, which is kind of on the cheap in terms of synthesizers. And for me, that was super exciting. You know, as I went on my journey, it got a little bit more expensive with items that I saved up for. But just having this created a lot of inspiration for me. You know, buy a new plugin, buy a new software synth. They're only like sometimes $60, $100. For a music producer, I think that's the best thing. Find sounds that get you inspired to create. Find a sample, use Splice. That's basically it. So, guys, if you have any more questions or things that you would like to hear me talk about, please make sure that you hit me up. I know some of you said, I want you to speak more about rituals, about staying motivated, about full-time. I've endeavored to do that today. I really enjoy connecting with you guys. And I know that a lot of the videos we've been doing are very long. We want to make them a little bit shorter so that you can watch them in one go. That's pretty much it. Thank you for the support, guys. This is Plugged In with Spike Leo. Don't forget to like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. And I wish you all the best with your creative endeavors. Peace. Thanks, guys.